Hello there, everybody. Kind of a warm day, so now I'm gonna wear a jacket here in the cold winter of Michigan. That's great. Um, really wanted to do a video. This one I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's pretty much a story about my experiences with autism. And I'm gonna go from the beginning, and that would be in 2009. I had the Great Recession was happening here in Michigan. I had lost my job in the automotive industry, and the unemployment here at the time was at 16%. And so I had two kids, a 5-month-old at the time, and then my oldest one was about a year and a half. So it was, really a problematic time in my life. With that being said, naturally I tried looking for work. I looked everywhere. I mean, outside of Michigan, had a few people call me for jobs, but nothing transpired after about a year, so decided to stay in Michigan. Around that time, which was about 2010, started noticing some issues with my oldest son, Matthew. He wasn't communicating like kids in his age group, and running into walls, and had a lot of repetitive behavior, started pinching himself, things like that. He was vocalizing but not making any words, not just wouldn't look anybody in the eye. His head would be like all over the place, kind of like this. So, we knew something was up. We weren't sure. We thought he might have been, hearing impaired. That was one of our first conclusions, but we took him to the doctor, have a hearing test, and he passed it. So once we concluded it wasn't that, we just weren't sure what was going on. So we decided to, one thing was, with my marriage was kind of getting a little rough, with my wife. So we decided to kind of start all over. And so we moved about 45 miles north of Detroit into a semi-rural area, and we pretty much left all our friends behind, and started all over. We just quit hanging out with our old crowd, and that's something we really needed to do to focus on the issues we had at hand and not trying to impress other people. That being said, so we got our son Matthew enrolled into one of the early intervention programs that the school offered, and they were suspecting autism with him. And I didn't believe it at first. So 6 months later, I took him into 2 hospitals here in Michigan, and come to find out that the results were on target. They were the same. It was an autism diagnosis. We even went to as far as having an MRI done on his brain. And then 6 months later, they also concluded my youngest son, Aiden, was also autistic. We got them both tested at the same time. And so I pretty much knew this was a done deal, and this wasn't a false diagnosis. So I'm flipping out, trying to think here, what am I going to do for work? I'm unemployed at the time. The economy's in the crapper. My wife really can't work because she's got to be the main provider for 2 handicapped children. We were freaking out. So, I just, tried, to find, something. So, needless to say, I said, screw it, we took what little money we had at the time, and we took off on vacation to Florida. Short 4-day vacation, and came back, and then I find out that my employer that laid me off offered my job back got my seniority back and everything. So that was a miracle and a half. And it was around that time, with the early intervention programs, that Matthew and Aiden started showing signs of improvement, and that was in 2012. I'm going forward fast because there's all kinds of stuff, but I don't want to make this video too lengthy. Presently, as of right now, and we're in 2017, so we're talking 4.5, 5 years later, my oldest son is starting to communicate in full sentences, very basic sentences. He, if you tell him, how was your day at school, he might not fully comprehend that. But if you say, how are you feeling, he'll say, I'm okay, I'm fine. Simple response, they'll say, like, I want crackers, please. Things like that. And he's starting to write his name in cursive now. And he's had all kinds of breakthroughs, starting to communicate in, like I said, nearly full sentences. You just got to work on some of the descriptive language skills, with him. He still's got some sensory issues, but even those have decreased. And that's why I've been advocating for, public schools for autistic kids, because without it, like I said in previous videos, it would cost me $70,000 a year with 2 kids with autism. And Aiden's had his breakthroughs too. He uses a lot of vocabulary, very descriptive language. I think that's where I try not to compare my kids, but that's where Aiden is at. He's got a little bit more language behind him than my oldest son, Matthew. But, he still's got some sensory issues. I can't even take him into a regular movie theater. He gets disruptive, and so we have to go sensory friendly for that. So that's really, a brief history into my autism story. So, if you're just recently getting your child diagnosed with autism, there's always hope. And, it's not the end of the world, it's just a different one. So hopefully you'll find some inspiration in this. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day.